It was a cold, cloudy morning. The wind blew gently outside the school, carrying with it the rustle of brown leaves. Inside the auditorium, the students of Lincoln High School sat in rows of A's. Their chatter filled the room, light and careless. Today was Veterans Day Assembly. Most students didn't care. To them, it was just another boring speech. The principal went on stage and tapped the microphone. "Morning, everyone," she said. "Today we welcome a special guest, Sergeant Marcus Brown. He's a veteran who served our country for 15 years. Please give him a warm welcome." A few claps. Some yawns. Then he walked in. A tall black man in full army uniform. Strong.com/serious. His eyes scanned the room, but his face stayed still. Some students looked at each other, some rolled their eyes. From the back row, a girl whispered loudly, "Great, another soldier's story." Her name was Ashley Carter. Ashley was the popular girl. Blonde hair, perfect makeup, expensive clothes. Her father was rich, her family powerful. She always got what she wanted. As Sergeant Marcus took the microphone, she leaned toward her friend and said louder this time, "Why should we care about what a street thug in a uniform says?" The words echoed. The room went silent. Then, laughter. Not everyone laughed, but enough to make it feel cruel. Marcus paused. He had heard every word. His eyes gently moved toward Ashley, but he didn't say anything at first. He simply looked at her. Ashley gave a fake smile and crossed her arms. The silence hung heavy. Then Marcus spoke. "Thank you for that powerful reminder," he said. "I came here today to talk about honor, service, and truth. But maybe I should talk about judgment instead." The laughter stopped. Now the room was listening. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't get angry. His tone was calm, too calm, and that made it even more powerful. "You see," Marcus continued, "I've been called many names. I've been judged by my skin, my clothes, even my silence. But I've learned that some people shout to hide their fear." Ashley's smile faded. "I won't talk about medals today," he said, "or war. I want to talk about choices. How one moment, one decision, can change your life." He took a deep breath. "There was a boy once," he said, walking slowly across the stage. "He grew up in a broken home. His father left. His mother worked 3 jobs. People said he'd end up in jail, like his cousins. He failed his classes, got into fights. No one believed in him. He stopped walking and looked out into the crowd. But then something happened. A soldier came to his school, just like I did today, and that soldier didn't judge. He listened. And because of that boy found hope." He smiled now. "That boy was me." The students were silent now. Even the teachers sat frozen. "I stand here not just as a soldier," Marcus said. "I stand here as a man who saw hate and chose not to give it back. I chose service, I chose respect, and I chose to protect this country, including the people who laugh at me." Ashley shifted in her seat. And to the young woman in the back, he said, now looking directly at her, "You don't know who I am, but you will." The room got colder. Nobody moved. Even Ashley's friends looked uncomfortable now. Then something strange happened. A man stood at the very back of the auditorium. He wore a black coat, glasses, and didn't smile. He wasn't a teacher. He wasn't a parent. Ashley looked at him, and her face changed. She recognized him not by name, but by presence. The man gave a small nod to Marcus. Marcus nodded back. The moment lasted just a second, but it changed everything. Marcus turned back to the audience. His voice softened. "We all make choices, but some choices follow you forever. Some words, some laughs, can come back to you in ways you never expect." Ashley looked nervous now. Her arms were crossed, but not in pride. Her fingers tapped her elbows. Her lips tightened. The rest of the students stayed quiet. No one dared laugh again. Marcus smiled once more. "Thank you for listening." He walked off the stage with calm footsteps. No medals, no stories of war, just truth. Heavy and silent. The principal came up to the mic, voice shaky. Thank you, Sergeant Marcus. That was powerful." Students began to clap at first, then louder. But Ashley didn't clap. She just stared at the man in the black coat. He was gone now, like a shadow. She didn't know it yet, but her life had already started to change. After the assembly, the students left the hall quietly. No one talked much. Something about Sergeant Marcus's words had stayed with them, but no one felt it more than Ashley. Her smile had vanished. She tried to laugh it off with her friends, but their voices were lower now. One even whispered, "You really went too far, Ash." Ashley waved her hand. "He's just a soldier. He'll forget it tomorrow." But someone else wasn't going to forget. Not Marcus, and not the man in the black coat. While Ashley returned to her fancy home that afternoon, Sergeant Marcus sat alone in a small apartment 2 blocks from the school. His uniform hung on the back of a chair. His strong hands held a small, worn photo. A photo of a young boy standing next to his mother, in front of a tiny house. That boy was him. 15 years ago, a childhood of silence. Marcus Brown had never known his father. He left when Marcus was just 2. His mother, Teresa, worked as a cleaner during the day and a waitress at night. They lived in one of the roughest neighborhoods in the city. Drugs, violence, police sirens. Every night, kids his age joined gangs. Some were dead by 16. Others were locked up. Marcus didn't have time for crime. He had to take care of his little sister. He walked her to school, cooked simple meals, and sometimes went to bed hungry. He got bullied. They called him names, beat him up, took his things. But Marcus never hit back. He wasn't weak, he was patient. He believed fighting would only make him like them. Still, inside, he carried anger. Silent anger. A new path at 17. Marcus was ready to give up. Then, one morning, his school gym teacher introduced the class to a visiting soldier. A young man in uniform spoke about discipline, courage, and pride. But what Marcus remembered most was the last thing he said. Even if the world thinks you're nothing, you can still become something. That night, Marcus searched how to join the army. 18. He left home and signed up. His mother cried, but she was proud. The making of a soldier training was tough. Early mornings, heavy bags, no rest, no comfort. But Marcus didn't complain while others shouted. He stayed quiet. He listened. He learned. He followed every order with discipline. People started to notice him. He became a team leader. He learned how to read maps, fix weapons, and make quick decisions under pressure. He served in 3 countries, saw pain, loss, and bravery. In one mission, he saved 2 injured soldiers while under fire. He didn't speak about it, but his actions were enough. He got a medal for courage. Still, he never changed. Even with medals, he stayed quiet, calm, focused. The return after 15 years of service, Marcus came back home. But the world hadn't changed much. Same streets, same crime, same young boys, going down the wrong path. That's when Marcus decided he wouldn't just live here, he would serve here too. He started talking to schools, helping at youth centers, mentoring young boys with no fathers. He didn't tell them war stories. He told them about patience, discipline, honor. He told them the truth. The call that same evening, Marcus got a call. He looked at the screen. FBI. Special Agent Moore, he answered calmly. This is Marcus. Sergeant, the agent said. We've reviewed the girl you mentioned, Ashley Carter. You were right. Her family's record is ... strange. Marcus leaned forward. Guess, Agent, I observe. We have her father under quiet investigation. His charity is linked to offshore accounts. Money laundering? Maybe more. And the girl? Marcus asked. She's not clean either. She knows things. She's part of it. Marcus closed his eyes. I need proof. Something solid. Agent Moore replied. We're sending someone undercover, a new teacher at the school. You keep playing your role. I always do, Marcus said. The soldier's mission. This wasn't just about one insult. Marcus had been watching Ashley and her family for a while, not because of what they said about him, but because of what they were hiding. Ashley's father donated big money to the school. He had friends in high places, police, politicians, even judges. He looked clean, but Marcus knew the signs. He'd seen fake smiles before. People like Ashley's father didn't need guns to be dangerous. They used power, money, silence. Marcus had seen soldiers die for this country. He wasn't going to let corruption grow in the same place he was trying to fix, not while wearing the same uniform that gave him purpose. One step at a time. The next day, Marcus returned to the school. He wasn't wearing a uniform now, just jeans and a jacket. He walked past the students. Some looked down, some nodded, even a few smiled. Ashley looked at him and quickly turned her face. Marcus didn't smile. He didn't need to. He knew something she did in single quotes too. Soon everything would change. Back at his apartment that night, Marcus added a new photo to his small collection. It wasn't of a battlefield. It wasn't of a medal. It was a screenshot of Ashley Carter laughing during the assembly. The frame caught her mid-laugh, eyes proud, face full of confidence. He pinned it next to a paper, Operation Truth, status in progress. He stared at it for a long time. Then he whispered to himself, let them laugh. Justice doesn't make noise. It makes history. Ashley Carter smiled again, but this time, it wasn't the loud, mocking smile she had at the school assembly. It was a quiet, fake smile, the kind people wear when they're trying to look perfect. She stood in front of her house, waving goodbye to her father as his black car drove off. Their house was huge white walls, shining windows, clean garden, and a golden gate. From the outside, everything looked like a dream, but inside, it was something else. The mask she wore at school. Ashley was the girl everyone wanted to be. Smart, stylish, confident. Her Instagram was full of perfect photos, coffee dates, designer shoes, private trips. Her captions said things like, life is beautiful when you're in control, but no one knew the truth. Ashley was not in control. A dangerous family secret. Her father, Jonathan Carter, was one of the richest men in the city. He owned a charity organization that claimed to help poor families. The city gave him awards. TV shows invited him. People called him a hero, but behind the scenes, his charity was a cover. Jonathan was laundering money, taking illegal money from dangerous people, and hiding it inside his business. He used fake names, fake documents, offshore accounts. And Ashley, she knew everything. She had heard her parents fight about it, late at night, through her bedroom door. Her mother once shouted, "You're dragging our daughter into this mess." Jonathan answered coldly, "She's already in it." She signed the papers. And it was true. Ashley had signed documents her father gave her. She thought they were for college prep or travel papers, but they were fake donation slips. Now, her name was on them too. Living with the Ashley had learned to keep quiet at first. It scared her. She had nightmares of police sirens, of people shouting, of prison. But over time, the fear turned into pride. She told herself, this is power. I'm not like the others. I'm untouchable. She watched teachers smile at her father. She saw how students followed her every move. She laughed at people like Sergeant Marcus not because she hated them, but because they reminded her of something she didn't have. Real honor, real peace. But power was enough for her. For now, the visit one evening, her father brought a guest home. Ashley watched from the staircase as two men entered the living room. Both wore black suits. One had a briefcase, no names. No greetings, they spoke in whispers. Her father nodded, smiled, wrote something on paper. Ashley didn't know what deal was being made, but she knew one thing. These are not normal businessmen, she whispered to herself. Later, her father said to her, these men are friends. Don't ever talk about them. Don't ask questions. She nodded. She was used to following orders now. Back at school, Ashley pretended nothing was wrong. She laughed with friends, rolled her eyes in class, took selfies in the hallways, but something had changed since the assembly. Students were looking at her differently. One boy whispered, that was cold. What you said to the soldier. A girl avoided her in the lunchroom. Even her teachers seemed distant. She shrugged it off. They're just jealous, she told herself. But deep down, she felt the weight. Sergeant Marcus hadn't shouted. He hadn't fought back. But he had left a scar quiet, deep, and growing. A stranger among them that week. The school announced a new substitute teacher, Mr. Evans. Tall, polite. He said he used to teach history. Ashley didn't care. But Mr. Evans paid attention to everything. He noticed how Ashley controlled conversations, how other students followed her lead, how she avoided questions when things got too personal. One day, he saw her on her phone in class, texting quickly, her hands shaking. He remembered that because Mr. Evans was not a teacher. He was an undercover FBI agent sent by Agent Moore to observe Ashley closely, and he was getting results. The files, meanwhile, Agent Moore was digging deeper. The documents Marcus had sent were real. Ashley's name appeared on 3 fake donation forms. Her signature matched, and one more name kept popping up, Silver Wing International. It sounded like a travel agency, but it wasn't. It was a shell compagnia. Fake business used to move money overseas, and Ashley's father was a silent partner. Now the FBI had enough to move forward, but they needed the final piece, a recorded confession, and maybe Ashley would give it without knowing. A risky conversation one day. Ashley sat in the library with her best friend, Tara. Mr. Evans sat nearby, pretending to read. Ashley leaned close and whispered, you remember those papers I signed for my dad? Tara nodded. The charity thing. Ashley smirked. It's not just charity. There's more, like big stuff. What do you mean? Tara asked. Ashley looked around, lowered her voice. Let's just say, if the FBI knew, they'd knock on our door tomorrow. Mr. Evans didn't move, but his phone hidden in his jacket was recording everything. A message sent that night. Mr. Evans sent the recording to Agent Moore. They had it. Ashley had finally said enough. Agent Moore smiled as he listened. Then he called Marcus. It's time. Marcus's voice was steady. What's the plan? We hid her on the school trip. Quietly, publicly. No one will forget it. Marcus looked out his window. He saw Ashley's photo on the wall. Still, smiling, he whispered. Let's take the smile away. The sun rose bright and golden over the city as excited students gathered near the school gates. It was time for the long-awaited school trip to the State History Museum. Buses lined up. Teachers shouted names. Parents waved goodbye. Among the crowd stood Ashley Carter, looking as stylish as always. She wore designer sunglasses, gold earrings, and a confident smile. Her backpack wasn't even zipped, just hanging from one shoulder. She was ready to enjoy the trip, but someone else was ready too. Sergeant Marcus stood across the road, wearing plain clothes and a cap. He watched silently from behind his sunglasses, and next to the buses, Mr. Evans, the undercover FBI agent, stood with a clipboard, blending in like a regular teacher. This wasn't just a school trip anymore. This was a mission. Ashley's plan didn't know anything to her. This was just another chance to take selfies and show off. She planned to record a vlog for her followers, pretending to care about history. Her real goal? Get more likes and views. But something felt strange. Students were quiet around her. Even her closest friends were whispering more. Tara, her best friend, seemed nervous. Ashley leaned in. What's with the long face? Tara avoided her eyes. Nothing, just tired. Ashley didn't believe her. But she didn't press it. She was used to people acting weird around her. Usually, they came back when they needed her attention or her money. The ride begins. The students entered the buses. Ashley sat near the back with her group. Mr. Evans sat just a few rows ahead, pretending to scroll on his phone. But in reality, he was watching Ashley through the reflection in the window. Ashley took selfies. She posted, on my way to the museum histories. About to get cute, lol. Marcus received the update on his phone. He stood in his car across the road, listening through a small earpiece. Keep eyes on her. No moves until we reach the museum, said Agent Moore through the line. Marcus replied calmly, understood. The trap was set. Inside the museum was grand and quiet. High ceilings, glass walls, and old statues filled the rooms. Students wandered around, looking at displays. Ashley stayed on her phone most of the time. She posed in front of a soldier's statue. Take a pic, she told Tara, but Tara's hands shook. What's wrong with you? Ashley snapped. Tara whispered Ash. Maybe don't post that. Some people are watching. Ashley laughed. Let them. Behind them, Mr. Evans stood. Near a large painting of the Civil War, he watched every move, and in the museum cafe, Sergeant Marcus had quietly entered, sitting alone with a coffee. No uniform, no name badge, but he wasn't here for sightseeing. He was here for justice. The signal at 12:45 p.m. Agent Moore's voice came through Marcus's earpiece. Go. She's alone near the Civil Rights exhibit. Evans is in position. We have backup outside. Marcus stood slowly. He walked through the halls, his boots silent on the marble floor. Each step was calm, steady, filled with purpose. This wasn't revenge. This was duty. The moment of truth. Ashley leaned over a glass display showing photos from the 1960s black soldiers, protest marches, people fighting for justice. She rolled her eyes. Old stuff, she whispered. That's when she heard the voice. History remembers everything. She turned. Marcus.standingtall.com, but his eyes cold and strong. Ashley froze. What are you doing here? She asked, trying to sound bold. Marcus didn't move. Just checking how you treat history, since you laughed at it last time. She smirked, still stuck on that wah. But then, Mr. Evans walked over. Behind him, 2 security guards arrived silently. Ashley's smile began to fade. What is this? She said. Mr. Evans pulled out a badge. FBI Ashley Carter, you're under investigation for financial fraud and criminal involvement in illegal donations under your father's organization. Her mouth dropped open. What? This is a joke, right? No joke, Marcus said. You talked about power, he added, but true power needs truth. The fall within seconds. Ashley was surrounded. Students nearby stopped and stared. Phones came out. Gasps filled the room. Ashley's confident mask cracked. Wait, you can't do this? My father, he'll sue you. Marcus stepped closer. He won't. He's already being questioned as we speak. Ashley's knees weakened. No, you're lying. Mr. Evans nodded to the guards. Take her. As they led Ashley away, she shouted, You're making a mistake. I'm innocent. I didn't know what I was signing. But everyone was watching, and no one was laughing. The sun was shining again in the city, but for Ashley Carter, every day still felt cloudy. She walked into the small community center carrying a notebook and a bag of flyers. Kids were already waiting for her inside. Teens from rough neighborhoods, broken families, and painful pasts. Ashley looked at them and took a deep breath. This was her second month in the program, part of her sentence, part of her chance to change, but not everyone believed she deserved it. The doubts began that morning. A headline from a gossip blog had gone viral. Ashley Carter, real change or PR stunt? Under it was a photo of her giving a speech to students, smiling, and below that were thousands of comments. She's faking it. Too late to be sorry. Daddy's money probably paid for this too. Ashley read every comment on the bus ride to work. She didn't cry. Not anymore. But inside, something still hurt. Teaching from pain inside the center, Ashley stood in front of the class. She held up a photo of herself from a year ago standing in front of a luxury car, wearing a designer dress. She asked the group, What do you see? One boy laughed. Rich girl. Probably rude. Another said, Someone who thinks she's better than me. Ashley nodded. That was me, and I believed it too. But behind that smile, I was scared, empty. I didn't even know who I was. A girl named Maria asked, Why did you insult that soldier? Ashley paused. The room went quiet. I thought power came from money, Ashley said. But he had something I didn't. Real pride, real strength. And I laughed because I was weak. Tara returns one afternoon. As Ashley was locking up, she saw someone standing at the gate. It was Tara, her former best friend, the girl who had once followed her everywhere. Now, Tara stood with folded arms, wearing no makeup, holding a small journal. Ashley's heart skipped. Tara, I came to see if it's true, Tara said. What? That you've changed? Ashley opened the gate. You can come inside. Tara stepped in slowly. They sat on a bench. Ashley said, I'm not the same person. Tara asked, Do you miss it? The mansion, the parties. Ashley shook her head. I miss being loved, but I don't miss being fake. Tara didn't speak for a moment. Then she whispered, I believed in you. Even when you hurt people. Ashley's eyes filled. I'm sorry. Tara gave a small nod. Start with that. Every day. A new project. Weeks passed. Ashley stayed out of trouble. She spoke in schools, helped teens with resumes, picked up trash in neighborhoods she once drove past in a limo. Then one day, she had an idea, a small nonprofit, not to raise money but to listen. She called it The Second Voice. It gave young people a place to share stories, especially those who felt unheard. At first, no one came. Then one girl showed up, then 5, then 10. Soon, A full room. Ashley never spoke first. She just listened, and the room healed together. Public pressure, but not everyone was ready to forgive. A well-known talk show host mentioned her during a live segment. Ashley Carter wants a second chance. Would she give one if the roles were reversed? The clip spread fast. Someone spray-painted liar on the walls outside the community center. Ashley found it early one morning. She didn't scream. She didn't call the police. She just picked up a brush and painted over it herself. One color at a time, one layer at a time. An unexpected letter one day. Ashley received a letter in the mail with no return address. She opened it slowly. Inside was a single page. Redemption isn't about public approval, it's about private change. I've seen you walk the hard road. Don't stop walking. M. Ashley smiled softly. She knew who M was. Sergeant Marcus. Still watching from the shadows, still teaching without words. A speech that changed everything. 3 months later, Ashley was invited to speak at a youth summit. At first she wanted to say no, but she knew this was her test. She stood on the stage in front of hundreds. Lights were bright, cameras pointed. She held the mic tightly and began. I was the girl who laughed at a soldier. I thought that moment was a joke, but it became my mirror. Everything broke after that, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. She told the full story, the lies, the courtroom, the prison, her father, the fear, and the truth. I can't erase the past, but I can use it to build something better. A standing ovation. Silence followed her last words. Then one person clapped, then another, then everyone stood. Not for fame, not for fashion, but for a girl who was once lost and finally finding her way. Back to the center that evening, Ashley sat back at the community center, writing in her journal. Tara walked in and said, "You know, people online are saying you're doing this just for show." Ashley smiled. "I'm not doing it for them." "Then why?" Ashley looked around at the walls filled with drawings, letters, and names. "For the girl I used to be, and for every kid who thinks one mistake means life is over." Tara nodded. "Maybe this is your real beginning." Ashley looked out the window and whispered, "Maybe it is." It had been 1 year since the courtroom doors had closed behind her father, and almost 1 year since Ashley Carter stopped pretending. She still remembered everything clearly. The laughter, the insult, the moment the FBI took her away. But today felt different, because today she was going back to where it all began. A letter from prison 2 weeks earlier. Ashley received a letter from Jonathan Carter, her father. His handwriting was shaky. "Ashley, if you're ready, I'd like to see you. No cameras, no lawyers, just father and daughter. I have something I need to say face to face." Dad. Ashley sat with the letter in her hands. For a long time she hadn't spoken to him since the trial. She hated what he did, but she still loved him. And deep inside, she needed closure. The prison gates, the prison was cold and gray. Ashley wore a simple blue shirt, no makeup, hair tied back. She passed through the metal detectors and guards. Her heart pounded as she walked down the hallway. Then the door opened and she saw him. Jonathan Carter, older now, thinner eyes, tired. He stood up slowly. "Ashley," he whispered. She sat across the glass window and picked up the phone. "Hi, Dad." The apology. Jonathan didn't waste time. "I broke everything," he said. "I broke the family. I broke you." Ashley stayed quiet. He continued, "When your mother died, I buried myself in work. I thought if I built an empire I'd be strong, but I only built walls. And you followed me through them." Ashley's eyes filled with tears. "I didn't want your money," she said. "I wanted your attention." Jonathan looked down. "I know, and I gave you everything. Except what mattered." He pressed his hand to the glass. "I'm proud of who you're becoming." Ashley hesitated, then placed her hand against his, separated by the thick window. "I forgive you," she whispered. And for the first time in years, Jonathan Carter cried. Saying goodbye, the guard called out, "Time's up." Ashley stood. Jonathan said, "You don't have to come again." Ashley replied softly, "Maybe not for you, but maybe I will." "For me?" He smiled. That was her choice now. Not guilt, not pressure, just her. She turned and walked out of the room. And with each step, she felt lighter. A message goes viral a few days later. Ashley shared a post on her small social media page. A simple photo, her hand against her father's on the prison glass, and below it, the caption, ****, I faced the man who taught me wrong, and I forgave him. That doesn't erase the pain, but it ends the silence. ****. The post went viral, not for drama, but for honesty. Thousands commented, sharing stories of their own broken families, regrets, and healing. For the first time, Ashley's story wasn't about shame, that it was about growth. A new name. One quiet evening, Ashley sat alone in the community center office. She looked at the sign on the wall. Ashley Carter, program director. She picked up a pen and wrote a new name. On a piece of paper, Ashley Jamison. Jamison was her mother's maiden name. Strong, honest, clean. She smiled and whispered, "This is who I am now." She didn't want to erase her past. She just didn't want it to define her anymore. Marcus returns on the last day of the youth summer camp. A surprise guest arrived. Sergeant Marcus walked through the doors, wearing a simple jacket. Ashley saw him from across the room and smiled. He nodded politely. I just came to listen. She led a session that day about second chances. And at the end, she said, the first time I met a real hero, I laughed at him. But now, I understand. Real strength is quiet, it stands tall, even when mocked. And that strength saved me without even fighting back. Everyone clapped. Marcus didn't say a word. But when she looked at him, he smiled softly. That was enough. Planting the final seed a few months later, Ashley visited a small park near the old museum, where everything had started. She brought a small tree sapling with her. She dug a hole, placed it gently in the ground, and watered it. A reporter passing by asked, "What's this for?" Ashley looked at the tree. "This is the last chapter of my old life, and the first page of something new." Epilogue, The Quiet Legacy, 5 years later. The tree stood tall in the park, surrounded by benches with names of community youth, leaders many of whom were once troubled teens Ashley had helped guide. Ashley, now 27, still ran the second voice. She refused interviews. She didn't chase fame, she chased healing. And though the world had once laughed at a soldier, now it remembered his silence. And the girl who once laughed, she learned to listen and led others toward light.